Okay, hello and welcome to the Radiant Woman podcast. And all right, this is juicy because I literally just hopped off a session with a client of mine, and it's so funny. We literally ended the call just laughing because, in essence, the session was me telling her to do whatever the fuck she wants to do. And we were just laughing at the simplicity of it, right? I'm going to tell you to do what you want to do. But here's the thing, right? Is we are all deeply intuitive beings, especially as women. We actually know what we need to do and when we need to do it. But what happens is we don't trust that nudge, right? We get those hits and we don't trust it. Now, why don't we trust it? Well, and to pre-frame this as well is like business and life becomes so freaking simple when we just trust and we follow that nudge, right? Call it intuition, your sacral, your heart, whatever. So let's call it your intuition. But here's why we don't do it. Because here's one of the reasons. So in your life, you've probably had a time where you followed your intuition and it led to a painful experience or it led to a hard experience. So, for example, right? So last year, I was like fully in my, I call it super flow zone. You could also call this the God zone, where it was just, I'm not even really thinking, I'm just intuiting, following the nudges. Everything in my life is like ramping up rapidly. Clients are flowing in, money is flowing in, I'm traveling, I'm just literally feel so free, like I'm just floating through the world, just doing my thing, right? And the result of that, like I remember this was in June and into July, suddenly I was like, I wonder how much money I made this month. I had a $50,000 a month doing that. But then what happened within that was out of nowhere, my 2IC at the time, so my right-hand woman, let's call her, who was doing the entire back end of my business, right? In a time where my business was growing rapidly. So she would upload replays, like she did all the back end admin stuff so I could stay in coaching and sales. So she gave me 2 weeks notice. And it didn't end in a good way. Like she was upset and projected some stuff and whatever. So it ended. And so what followed that was 3 months of me not having a solid support person, just kind of having temporary people. And it was very stressful. Like I'm talking replays to programs weren't getting uploaded, mistakes were happening left, right, and center. I even had like a VA upload a one-on-one client session recording into a group program where everyone could see it, right? This client, it had she wanted to, could have friggin' sued me. So it was like there were so many challenges and it was stressful as fuck, like having so many clients and not having a solid, like I'm coaching, I'm doing all these things. Oh shit. And now I've got to manage the entire back end of my business. And so because that was painful and it came from like a time where I was just so in my flow, following my intuition, right? And then that led to my 2IC quitting, because she didn't like the way that I operated. I contracted and pulled back and said, well, it's not safe. It must not be safe for me to follow my intuition because it led to a painful experience, right? Now, this is just one example. This is one example. If I look back in my life, oh my gosh, like I have so many of these examples. Another example would be like at the start of this year, I followed my desire. I had a deep desire to have a baby and, fell pregnant, followed that, and then 4 months in had a miscarriage, and I felt absolutely heartbroken. And so, of course, in those moments, it's easy to go, well, it's easy to get angry. It's like, well, fuck you, God, or fuck you, life. Like I followed my desire, I trusted, and it led to pain. So fuck it, I'm not gonna trust. Woo, I'm not gonna just trust because I can't, I need to protect myself from that pain. So what's interesting about this though, and if I look back at my own journey, particularly over the last 18 months, where I've had plenty of challenges in my life and in my business, I can see where I made that mean that I did something wrong, that I couldn't trust myself, that I couldn't trust life, and I contracted and I pulled back and I stopped following those nudges, the nudges that lead to a greater and greater expansion. And it's really interesting because if we zoom out and we look at this from a bird's eye view, it's like, okay, we go, all right, I'm going to stop trusting, I'm going to contract to protect myself from pain. But whatever we're avoiding, aka pain, we end up creating. And so in that contraction, what happened? I created a different kind of pain. I created the pain of, oh my God, I'm so fucking bored with my life. I'm feeling so fucking stagnant. And I know that I'm not being the woman that I know I came here to be. It's a different kind of pain. And for me, that's a worse kind of pain than grief or hurt or sadness. It's the pain of not living in congruency with myself. One of my favorite sayings from DeMartini is, I'd rather have the whole world against me than my own soul. Right? Like if I get to the end of my life, I don't really care what's happened. What I do care about is that I was true. I told the truth. I lived in truth. I lived in congruency with my soul, with my heart, with who I came here to be in this lifetime. That's pretty much everything to me. So, so, um, so it's so interesting, and I wanted to share this because it has been a huge journey for me over the last 18 months. Because if I look back to like at the, last year was my biggest financial year in business, and the first half of last year was just total ease and flow. And it's easy to trust, right? To trust and let go and surrender with the natural current and rhythm of life when things are easy and things are flowing. But my greatest lesson over the last 18 months has been, when hard things are happening, when I'm experiencing pain, right? Grief, sadness, hurt, it doesn't mean I've done anything wrong. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me. I don't need to feel ashamed of this. And yes, I can continue to still trust myself, trust my intuition, and trust in life. Okay, because if I look at, okay, that experience of, losing my 2IC, and that was very challenging for 2-3 months after, but then now for the last year, I've had really great, solid 2IC. And with the miscarriage, like, yeah, it was so painful. And I grieved so much. Like I cried every day for 3 months post that. And it brought up grief that I had been carrying probably for like 33 years. And that was the beauty in that. It was painful, but it cracked my heart open to new levels of joy and love. And this is the interesting piece too, right? Is like I've been on this huge journey with when I have the business success, or when I get to this level, 7 figures, whatever it is, then I will feel happy, joyful, good enough, whatever it is. Right? And this is such a common thing. This is literally like one of the greatest illusions. And I think for many of us who come into business, is like we come in and we can look at the goals and start chasing the goals, but what do we really want? We want joy. We want connection. We want intimacy. We want to feel blessed. We want to love who we are. We want to feel really fulfilled in our purpose and in our relationships. And so all we're ever really looking for is more of our own love and love. And everyone else's love is simply a reflection of our own love. So ultimately it all comes back to all we're ever looking for is our own love. And and it's so easy to fall into the trap of, oh, when I get that goal, when I get that relationship, when I get that perfect body, then I'm going to feel that love. And so the biggest gift in the last 18 months for me has been in that cracking open of my heart, meeting the grief. The only thing that was blocking the love that I was looking for from myself was this grief that I was still carrying. It was just all this unprocessed grief, shame, guilt. And through feeling through that, as uncomfortable as it was, it led me back to such a deeper sense of feeling at home within myself. And that, oh yeah, everything I'm looking for, I'm feeling it in me right now. So there's nothing I need. There's just what's fun, what's exciting. And it's so funny because, like, of course, in the last week, my Stripe has been popping off. I've had $12,000 just through Stripe payments alone. That's not including like direct payments, direct debits. It's like the irony. When I don't need money, when I stop chasing money, money starts chasing me. So, um, yes, that's what I wanted to share. And one final thing, I was actually listening to a podcast this morning, and what the woman on there said was, instead of like, I think this is such a brilliant shift in perspective. It's like, what if instead of you seeing yourself as the one manifesting what you want, the money, relationship, etc., what if you swap it and you see the money, the relationship, the body, the opportunities, the connections, they are manifesting you. Like they are waiting for you to become a match. They're waiting for you to open up to receive them. They're waiting for you to become the woman that it's like, of course, how could I not have these things? Because it's just who I am. So that's what I want to leave you with. When I just thought that was absolutely fucking brilliant. Because this whole friggin' journey that we are on here in this life is just self-actualization and realizing we already are everything that we need and we want. So, sending you so much love. Take a screenshot of this and tag me in your stories on Instagram, because I love, like, with your takeaways, I love to connect that way, and to hear what your biggest takeaway from this was. And I will see you soon. Bye.